Reading the back of the PSP version, the creators of Final Fantasy Tactics bring you the next evolution in tactics games from Square Enix and Tactics Ogre. Let us cling together. A dream team led by Yasumi Matsuno has reunited to bring a perfect version of their lost tale of political intrigue, conquest, and rebellion to vivid life. Experience an epic story where your choices determine the fate of the Wallister Resistance. This is Tactics Ogre, Let Us Cling Together. It is from Quest and released in 1995, part of the Ogre Battle saga. There is not currently a Let's Play for this, I'll tell you that right now, but there will be one in the future. I am working on getting Ogre Battle finished, then we'll be moving on to Ogre Battle 64, and then Tactics Ogre as they are in, that is the timeline. Got it? Okay. Unlike Ogre Battle, March of the Black Queen, which we have looked at earlier, instead of controlling a vast army, this is much more RTS tactical based, like Final Fantasy Tactics, which it mentioned, and more like Knight of Lotus, which was released later for the Game Boy Advance. Chronologically, this is the 7th episode in the Ogre Battle saga. The Ogre Battle saga, is very big. There's a lot to it, and not all of the games, unfortunately, made it out into America. We have the main series, we have side stories like Legend of Ogre Battle Gaiden, Prince of Zenobia, Knight of Lotus. The main series is March of the Black Queen, Let Us Cling Together, and Ogre Battle 64. That's the order in which they were released, not the chronological order that the games take place in. I would really love if Prince of Zenobia would ever be made available. It might be now. It was, I think it was like a WonderSwan game back in the beginning. And I want to say it got remade for like the Neo Geo or something. Anyway, I'll be looking for it, and if I find it, I'll play it. But this game had a long development cycle, was released 18 months after it was announced. It's the second game that Yasumi Matsuno directed following March of the Black Queen. We need to talk about him. This might be a long episode, but it's a long clip. He's a video game designer, of course, formerly employed at Quest and Square. He worked on Ogre Battle and Final Fantasy Tactics and Vagrant Story and Final Fantasy XII. He's done a lot of really good stuff. He's worked at Level 5, which did... Oh, what did they do? I don't remember what they did, but they did something. His works, okay, this guy, Conquest of the Crystal Palace, March of the Black Queen, Let Us Cling Together, Tactics, Final Fantasy Tactics, Vagrant Story, Tactics Advance, Final Fantasy XII, Mad World, Tactics Ogre Wheel of Fate, Crimson Shroud, Terra Battle, Final Fantasy XIV, Stormblood, Unsung Story, and that's coming out next year, and then he's got another one where he's directing to be announced called Lost Order. He was the director of Ogre Battle, March of the Black Queen, and Tactics Ogre, and Final Fantasy Tactics, and Vagrant Story. He also produced and wrote for almost all of those. He's been a writer and designer for a lot of games. I really like what this guy has done video game-wise. Tactics Advance, he just produced it, so I don't give him too many pings on that one, but that game was not very good. Anyway, there is a Super Nintendo version, a Saturn version, a PlayStation version, and a PSP version. The Super Nintendo version is only available in Japanese. Was released worldwide for the Virtual Console in 2009, however, so you can get it from there. The Saturn version was released in 1996, published by Riverhill Soft. This version has voice acting in the most important scenes, and an art gallery. It makes it possible to swap bodies with normally restricted classes through the use of an item. It does away with a lot of the restrictions in the other game, significantly impacting gameplay. The original release, it got a 34 out of 40 from Weekly Famitsu, while the Saturn version got 30 out of 40. The PlayStation port was well received and got an aggregate rating of 81%. GameSpot deemed it a blast from the past for just about everybody, comparing it to Tactics. GameSpot says, aesthetics aside, Tactics Ogre is purer and more playable than its high-tech descendant, and definitely worth a look from the strategy RPG enthusiasts. Joypad noted, Sorry. The game would give players hours of enjoyment. It's a complex and large tactical RPG. They noted it had no additions from the original version other than English and having loading scenes. 15 years later, the PSP port received positive reviews with an aggregate of 88 and 87 from GameRankings and Metacritic. And I only played through this once, and I really liked it. It felt really dark compared to some of the other games, both in terms of its look and its content. Night of Lotus seems really cartoony to me in comparison. I'm looking forward to playing this game again. Like I said, I really enjoyed it. And if I can, maybe I'll see if I can snag the Virtual Console version somewhere. And play that one instead of the fan translated one, because the fan translated one, while good, there are a couple of issues, so it might be nice to track down the original version. The Saturn version's Japanese only, so that ain't gonna work, and I will avoid the PlayStation version like the plague if I possibly can, because loading times.